Alright, hello everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the festival Symboli Rudolf and Gold City, plus the Curren Wits and Narita Brian SSR cards. Before we begin, I want to talk about two very important things. First is the story event. Sounds of Autumn, the Guts card. Do not click this card. This card will be very relevant for the Make a New Track Guts build. Guts build becomes significantly buffed in the Make a New Track scenario. So in that scenario, I can recommend Guts build to you. Although you can just go for the classic speed, and then after that go for a bunch of race bonus. That's also perfectly functional for the Make a New Track scenario. After the Guts build over here, take note of the El Condor Pasa Kita-san banner directly after this banner. So if you are someone that does not have his Kita-san Black at MLB yet, I highly recommend going for that Kita-san Black MLB. Otherwise, you will have a really hard time. F2P in general really do want to get Kita-san Black, because Kita-san Black in general can just be slapped into the deck regardless of the conditions, and it may be worse than some of the other speed cards that are available, but it will always be solid enough that it's okay to put it inside the deck, right? In Make a New Track, notably, however, the Kita-san Black card will fall off. So if you're worried about that, then you can try to pull something else later on for the scenario. But for F2P, in general, no, I just recommend not to. The RNG is just too much and you have no money to go and invest into the game. So definitely it's going to be very RNG if you hit another speed card on the level of Kita-san Black. So definitely just pull Kita-san Black for F2Pers especially. But for those of you who are willing to put in a little bit of money, I can recommend that you skip this and actually go for Narita Top Road, go for Fuku Kitaru, go for Agnes Tachyon later on, go for El Condor Pasa later on, because those 4 cards will be some things that you will be using as your speed cards for the next few scenarios. Alright, now we move on to the review of the cards. Let's start off with Curren. This is a Sprinter's Wit card. So this is not on the level of Fine Motion. The train effectiveness is only 5%. The specialty priority is 65. Friendship bonus is 30%. Right? This is not a Fine Motion level Wits output card. This card is instead used as a Skill Monkey card. So some Wits cards are solid enough. They give decent Wits output, but never on the level of Fine Motion. But you will use them. Why? Because you want the gold skill. That is what some cards are. Right? That's why Nice Nature on your left is available. That's why this card exists as well for sprinting horses only. Take note, sprinting CMs are the most rare CMs alongside Dirt. You will maybe see 1 sprint CM per year or 2 sprint CMs per year, something like that. It's really very rare. Dirt is the same, 1 or 2 Dirt CMs per year as well, right? So take note of all of this before you go and pull this card. Yeah, this is a very good sprinter card because it gives you the gold skill of Perfect Prep. Perfect Prep can be found on Hishi Akebono. Perfect Prep on Sprint, at first glance you see this is a lane movement skill, so it doesn't look that interesting, but actually if you zoom in, it has a increased acceleration of 0.3. Now in this it has a phase random of 1. So you look at this and also like, well, this is super RNG, but no, it's actually not that RNG, because for sprints, the track is so short that this is actually going to hit quite often. And so Perfect Prep is actually not a bad skill to bring into Sprint. Sprint is actually super RNG, even more RNG than the Mouse CM that you have just experienced. Mouse CMs are super RNG also because of the various conditions, but on Sprint, a late start and a rush are literally the defining factors of whether you will win or lose. That's how RNG it is for the Sprint CMs, because Sprint CM, it starts and then in a few seconds it's basically over already. That's how fast Sprint CMs end. So gambling is extremely recommended for Sprint CMs, and so Perfect Prep is a very good skill for the Sprint CM. Note that you cannot use this Curren card to go and put onto your Curren horse. So that is one of the downsides of this card. So if you did want to use Curren for Sprint, sorry, you can't really get the Perfect Prep onto her, right? But anyway, this card here is very solid for the Sprint, and you will pull it out every like 1 or twice per year basically, right? Anyway, moving on to Narita Brian. This card in general is just not recommended, right? Because this card basically does not have a gold recovery. If you scroll down, you can see that she gives you golden beeline burst. That is not a very core skill for anyone. No one's screaming, I wish I had beeline burst, that would literally make me win right now. No, everyone just wants a bunch of speed skills. That's how you play the game. You don't want to get super hyper focused into a random speed skill. You just want a bunch of them chained up so you can get very good speeds, right? So anyway, this card here is a solid stat stick. It's not too insane, but it does have the skill point bonus of 1, it does have friendship bonus of 35, and it does have the train effectiveness of 5%, but you have a unique effect of another 5%, so it's 10% in total. So in terms of stat output, this card can give you quite a lot of good stuff. Can give you skill point bonus, can give you a lot of good stamina bonus as well, because the friendship bonus is so damn fat, right? But the problem is that this card just clashes with Super Creek. Maybe you want to use it for long, that's okay. You can use Super Creek plus this card, but that's really only for long. For medium, you would generally try to just use Super Creek plus Rico, and then that's it, right? You just use Super Creek plus Rico, and that's enough for your medium stamina requirements. So you don't really need to put a second stamina card inside, especially not an SSR stamina card for a medium race. Only for longs, then we use double stamina card. For mediums, not really that important if you think about it. So this Narita Brian is generally just not recommended, but if you are going for long in particular, and you want to get that skill point bonus, because you know that in longs, right, you can't get a lot of skill points, it's very, very hard to hit the stat lines for long, then this extra skill point bonus can help you to buy even more skills. So that could help you to high roll even more. But there's also another card which is Satono Diamond that also gives you more raw stats for your guts, and that's also very, very good because you do want a certain amount of guts as well for your long CMs as well, right? So ultimately this is just a case of cards that looks good, but in practice, there's just a lot of other options, and Umamusume is not really a game where you can just be pulling on every single banner. So in terms of value, right, this card is not super good. It's very, very niche, only for those who really want to be specialized in long and get the skill points on top of that, then they will consider pulling for this banner over here. But in general, just not recommended for anyone. There'll be plenty of other good stuff to go and pull for later on. Right, moving on, we have the Gold City Festival and the Symboli Rudolf Festival. We'll start with Symboli Rudolf first. This is a dedicated pace chaser with a very, very solid unique. Arrow Whistle, Shadow Disperse. This is basically if someone was trying to overtake you in the first half of the pack during the late race or beyond, then on the final corner, your speed will increase. So this is a precondition requiring you to be fighting someone and trying to overtake you in the phase number 2. Phase number 2 will be the late race, so that's a little bit too late if you think about it, because late race will be where the acceleration is starting to happen already, right? So this gives you a bonus to 6 seconds of speed when the late race has happened, and then you activate the condition in the final corner. Final corner could be at the late race, or it could be at the final part of the race, right? So this is generally just a nice 6-second speed boost to give you a little bit more gap. It's not going to be super relevant, it's going to be okay. It's not like super amazing, but at least it's more consistent than a lot of the other uniques that just straight up won't activate at all, right? So that's something to consider. But the thing to talk about this horse is that she comes with a lot of very nice pace chaser skills inside of her. She has straight descent, she has calm and collected, she has pace chaser straight away, and notably she does have the golden green skill, which is Fall Frenzy. Fall Frenzy is a speed stat of 60 and a power stat of 60 increase. So if you are running in autumn races, you can get quite a fat amount of speed and also power just by buying this green skill over here. Now, is it actually worth it to go and buy these kinds of skills over here? For 130 cost, for 60 in stats, for 2 very core stats. In some situations, if it works, you might as well buy it. But of course, you want to still get your mid-leg skills, you want to get your Uma stand, your Nimble Navigator, blah blah blah, then this skill will fall off in value in terms of being able to buy it. Right? No one's going to go out of their way to say, I wish I had a golden green skill. But people will go out of their way to say, I wish I had Uma stand, Nimble Nav, straightaway spurt, groundwork, blah blah blah. Right? This is not a really scream, I really want it skill. This is more of a, if I can afford it and I have nothing else to buy, then why not go and pick up this gold skill here, right? Other than that, she also has Prepared to Pass and Pace Chaser corners in her skills from events. So ultimately, this horse is really just a super dedicated Pace Chaser that is always solid, never super OP, but it's always going to be solid enough, especially on the autumn tracks. You can maybe get that Fall Frenzy skill, right? After that, moving on to Gold City Festival. This horse has a lot of funkiness inside of her. I'll need to explain what the hell is up with this horse here, right? For Gold City Festival, she is a horse that has a very unique debuff. First of all, we will not talk about the unique first, we talk about the debuff. The debuff is an acceleration debuff of 0.3. Now this is the one that a lot of people will get confused about. Acceleration 0.3 is not the same as speed, right? Speed is more significant for a lot of CMs, but acceleration, this one, depending on where it's at, right? Depending on where the activation is, it could be useful or it could be completely worthless, right? Because acceleration, as you can see, right, only really matters in the spurting phase of the game. So if you don't land this during the exact spurting phase of the game, this skill is really not going to do anything at all, or speed is always okay no matter where it is. Right, so battle formation is very, very niche. However, there is one niche that this battle formation skill was used for, and that was for one specific short CM. Because short CM, you tend to actually shoot this at a very good timing. In fact, you were shooting it more often than not on the short CM. But you are looking at this skill and you're like, wait a minute, MooMooCows, this is a mild debuff. How am I shooting it on short? That's because of the powerful special swimsuit Ghost Ship. Swimsuit Ghost Ship has the adventures of 564. 564 allows you to fire a gold skill at any point, regardless of the conditions of the skill, meaning that you could straight up, for example, bring Dominator into Mal and then shoot Dominator at your enemies. Legitimately, it would work, right? So that is how this skill was used for one specific short CM, and it was quite scary on the short CM, but not everyone bothered with it because it was just too out there in terms of strategy, right? But essentially, that was one of the things that you could do if you had this horse's gold battle formation debuff, right? I don't think you will ever see this battle formation debuff ever again. However, I think it's only on this horse over here. The acceleration debuff is very niche, and ultimately was not significant enough because it was literally only used for like 1 or 2 short CMs if I can remember correctly, right? So yeah, battle formation is very niche. Please do not consider this a very good debuff, right? Next, we also have the lie in wait. Lie in wait is really good. This is the gold skill from Zeno Rob Roy. The fact that she has it in by default means that this horse can actually be run as a late surger for a lot of different CMs, whether it be for long, for medium, or whatnot, because this gold skill actually is something like a super crit swinging maestro, because it activates in the phase later half random of number 0, and you basically just need to be in the back line to activate it. This tends to activate at a good timing, and so lie in wait is just a very good late surger skill to use. And so this skill is going to be the late surger goal recovery. So now, like Pace Chaser have Gorman and Race Planner, late surgers now have lie in wait, which is very nice, right? So this horse, now we go back to the unique skill. We've answered the jankiness. Now what is this unique skill all about? It's basically, if there is a final corner and you did get blocked during that final corner, you will activate a very fat speed plus acceleration. This is on the level of Daiwa Scarlet and Doto, if you think about it, right? 0.25 speed and 0.3 acceleration. That is going to be absolutely massive in terms of boosting this horse to ridiculous levels, right? Perfect proc it and you straight up will just win the game because of that huge amount of acceleration, right? Or the huge amount of speed carryover, right? If you early proc it, as long as it's not too early, you're basically able to also activate this at a very perfect timing and give you a very good speed carryover plus a decent amount of acceleration, and it will be significant enough to help you to win. So dancing the leaves is really good also, right? Notably in the Scorpio Cup, the final corner is exactly where you would want dancing the leaves to activate. So that means that this skill is going to be very good for that CM. This horse is a very solid horse for this upcoming CM Scorpio Cup, right? So definitely do consider her for that. In addition, she also has a lot of decent late surge skills like Slick Surge from the events, as well as the 1.5 million CC, which is also solid enough for the Scorpio Cup. So ultimately, this horse here is a very solid horse. Great gambler. The debuff might trick some people to believe that that debuff is going to be insane. No, that debuff is not insane. Historically, this was only used for 1 or 2 short CMs only, right? If you can find other places where you can shoot this, maybe we can find a few more CMs than that, because in JP, the meta is not super defined, right? So maybe they were not able to find every single possibility, but for certain CMs, we can go and take a look at battle formation again just to see if we can actually make it fire at a good timing. But it tends to not be something that's worthwhile to go for. Might as well throw in a bunch of other aces, right? Because if you're in short CM, it's so damn volatile. Just throw 3 horses in there and just gamble the victory, and that will be enough to get you to A finals. You don't have to really go and do this kind of weird strategies, right, to make yourself win. Okay, so anyway, that's pretty much it for this banner over here. Ultimately, a lot of the horses here are very solid, so feel free to pull the horses if you do enjoy them and you do like their outfits, and the lipstick also. The lipstick is one of the big selling points for this banner. Curren is very cute on the card, and it is a very sprint focused card, but of course it's very niche, while Narita Brian tends to be just not very interesting at all. Right, so yeah, that's pretty much it for this banner over here. Ultimately, everyone should just be really saving up for that Kita-san Black banner over here, or saving up for the Majiro Dobo banner after that, or saving for the Christmas Oguri banner after that. They will all still remain very solid cards, and if you want to, you can even go and get the Mayana Top Gun card on the Christmas Oguri banner, because that card is also not too bad at all in terms of stat sticking wise, if you need another speed card, for example. Right, that's pretty much it, guys, for this guide here. Thanks for watching. If you need any more questions, join the Discord, ask me in Ko-fi, ask me on Twitch or YouTube live streams. I will try my best to answer your questions when it comes to gacha stuff. And of course, once the Dober banner or the Christmas Oguri banner comes out, I will start on the next video, which will explain what to pull on for the next 3 months, which is basically the post Christmas Oguri banner stuff to go and plan for. Alright, that's pretty much it, guys, for this video. Thanks for watching. I shall see you guys next time. Bye bye.